ನಾನು ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಓದಿ ಅದು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಲೇ ಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಬೈಕ್
ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸಿಟಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಅದ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಅಡ್ವರ್ಟೈಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಫೋಟೋ
All the participants are requested to mute their audio and video.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡಿ.
कुलकर्णी मैडम हेलो कुलकर्णी मैडम कुलकर्णी मैडम
sir.
You are recording this, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Later on you can send it to me.
Okay.
Yes, sir, sure. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. न चोरहार्यं न च राजहार्यं न भ्रातृभाज्यं न च भारकारी व्यये कृते वर्धत एव नित्यं विद्याधनं सर्वधनप्रधानम्. Knowledge is a wealth that cannot be stolen by thieves, nor can be divided among brothers. It does not have a weight. If spent regularly, it always keeps growing. The wealth of knowledge is the most superior wealth of all. On behalf of KLE Society's Basavaprabhu Kore Arts, Science and Commerce College, Chikodi, Karnataka, I, Priyanka Kulkarni, welcome you all for one-day national level webinar on Research, Design and Hypothesis organized by PG Department of Commerce and Management. Gaining knowledge is the first step of wisdom. Sharing it is first step to humanity. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome resource person of today's webinar, Dr. P.M. Hirekar sir, Principal, Devchand College, Arjun Nagar, Kolhapur, Maharashtra. Welcome you, sir. I am delightful to welcome our principal, Shri Yuva Rajput sir. Welcome you, sir. I extend warm welcome to IKC coordinator of our college, Dr. B.G. Kulkarni sir, and MCOM coordinator, Lakshmikant Naik PO sir. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome all the participants across the country joined with us for this webinar. I also welcome all the staff members of our college. Once again, congratulations, heartiest welcome to all. Now I request our principal sir, Shri Yuva Rajput, to speak few words. Everyone, please put your videos, audios also. Participants are requested to mute your audio and video.
Hello everyone, good morning to all. On behalf of KLEs Society's Basoprabhu Kore College, I wholeheartedly welcome all resource persons and registered delegates. Our Department of PG Department of Commerce and Management has organized a webinar on research design and hypothesis. For this, I welcome a resource person, Dr. P.M. Herekar, Principal of Deshan College, Arjun Nagar, Maharashtra. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome all registered delegates to this webinar. Welcome you all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. May I now request Shri Shantinath Bhoske sir to introduce today's keynote speaker.
Good morning, everyone. It's my immense pleasure to introduce today's resource person, Dr. P.M. Herekar sir, Principal of Division College, Arjun Nagar, Maharashtra. Sir has completed his MCOM at Pune University. For the last 36 years, he is in the teaching field. After entering teaching field, he updated his education qualification and acquired MPhil in outstanding grade and PhD in finance at the Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Also, he is a member of Board of Studies in Accounting and Actuarial Sciences at Shivaji University, Kolhapur. For some years, he also worked as a visiting faculty for MBA program at Vishwesvaraya Technological University, Belgaum, and BSMS, BBA, and BCA College, Nipani. He also worked as a coordinator of BBA and BCA Study Center at Devchan College. He is a research guide for MPhil and PhD at the Shivaji University. Sir has published 12 research articles in international journals and 8 research articles in national journals. Sir also presented many research papers in national and international seminars and conferences. And he has also worked as a research person and chairperson at the many conferences, seminars, and workshops at the national and international level. Dr. Herekar has authored and co-authored as many as 40 text and reference books on subjects related to commerce and management. Thus, Dr. Herekar has a rich experience in academics as well as industry. He likes to give motivating speeches to the young students taking higher education in various courses as industrial employees. With these few words, let me introduce today's resource person, Dr. P.M. Herekar sir. Thank you. Thank you, Nano.
Thank you, sir. Herekar sir, can we start now?
Yes.
Can we start the session, sir?
Okay.
Sir, you are not audible.
Yes. 1 minute.
Yeah, you're audible, sir. Audible.
Okay.
Now I request Dr. P.M. Herekar sir to start the session.
Good morning, all of you. I welcome you all for this one-day national webinar organized by BK College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Chikodi. I thank the principal of the college, Dr. Shri U.R. Rajput, organizing secretary, convener of the event, Ms. Priyanka Karni, IQAC coordinator, Dr. B.G. Kulkarni, MCOM coordinator, Professor Lakshmikant Nayak, TO, the other dignitaries who have been connected to this webinar, and the participants, mainly the members of staff of BK College and other teachers and PG students who have been connected for the webinar from different places, from different states. Today, I thank the organizers for inviting me as a resource person and giving me an opportunity to interact with all this galaxy of intellectual people on an important topic such as research design and hypothesis. So today we will have an elaborate discussion on these two important aspects of research methodology, namely research hypothesis and research design. Now, before we commence the discussion, let us have some discussion on what the research is all about. Now, what is research? Research is a systematic investigation. It is a systematic investigation of a phenomena. Phenomena means any matter which we take up for the research. The subject matter of the research. You may try to analyze a particular problem. You may try to analyze the nature's laws. You may try to analyze different happenings in the life of a mankind. So all these things which you try to understand, these are called phenomena, single word. Phenomena means whatever things you want to study, whatever things you want to investigate, to understand the truth. What is truth? How the nature works. What are the natural laws? We have a big environment around us. We have got plants, animals, people around us. We have got huge universe, planets, galaxies around us. So everything can be a subject matter for our research. So in research, we are trying to analyze different kinds of phenomena. Even we are trying to analyze the problems in our life, day-to-day life, in different fields, in the sociology, economics, physics, chemistry, natural sciences are there, social sciences are there. So we are in the course of research, we try to analyze these different aspects which forms the subject matter of our research. So what is research? Research is a systematic, careful, critical. But we are trying to investigate, we are critical about everything because we want to know the truth. We want to know the natural laws. We want to understand our environment. So for that purpose, we have to be careful, we have to be systematic, we have to be objective. Objective means while conducting the research, we should not allow our personal bias to interfere our work. What we have found? What is the root cause of the event that I'm going to, or issue or problem that I'm going to analyze? If I want to understand the real root cause, I should keep my personal feelings away. And what it is, we have to understand. What I feel it is not, it doesn't matter. So, while analyzing, while investigating, one important thing is that we have to use research methodology. How to analyze a phenomena, how to understand the phenomena. For that, different experts, they have prepared a methodology, a list of methods and procedures to investigate the matter. How to collect the information, how to present the information, how to analyze it, how to interpret it, how to test the hypothesis. Different tools of analysis, different methods of data collection, different methods of presenting the data. These have been designed by the experts, and together we call it as a research methodology. So while conducting this investigation, we have to make use of research methodology. Earlier, in olden days, the different saints, different thinkers, like a Socrates, Plato, or Vedavyasa we can call, or Basveshwar for the purpose, or we can say Mahavir, or Gautam Buddha, they were also researchers. They were observing the things around them and deeply introspect, do the logical analysis. They used to have an interaction with the knowledgeable people. They used to read the books, old sculptures. And on that basis, they used to come out with their findings, their theories. That was their old technique on the basis of logical analysis. They used to establish the links between different things and see the world in a different way. They used to present their findings. So their old methodology was different. But nowadays, we have been using sophisticated methodology. So research methodology has changed. So today, while conducting the research in any field, it may be physics, it may be chemistry, it may be any social science like economics or sociology or political science or commerce and management, we have to make use of these methods, standard methods, sophisticated methods for conducting the research. Now, after conducting this research, by making use of these different methods, procedures, techniques of research, we come at a conclusion. We come at findings. These findings may be general findings. They are called generalizations. For example, we conduct the research behavior of the people. And we may form the generalizations normally that women talk more than the men. It is a generalization. It's not a theory. In the course of our observation, in the course of research, we come to know that women talk more than the men. Or women laugh more or loudly than the men. It doesn't mean that all the women laugh loudly, generally. Or all the women, they talk much. It doesn't mean some women might be talking lesser than the men. But generally, it's a general trend. So generalizations, they are called generalizations. If generalizations are more specific, they are called principles. And if we can establish the quantitative relationship between different variables in the course of our study and come out with a concrete theory, it may be called theories or theorems. So principle, generalizations, principles, theories, they are the final outcome of our research. So this is how we discuss research. Now I'll be sharing my screen with you. So first of all, let us come to the objectives of webinar. The webinar which we have conducted, on which I am talking, first of all, I want to clarify the basic concepts of the research. Second objective is to provide deep insight into the concept of research, namely the research design and hypothesis. Only two aspects of the research process I am going to discuss in detail. With the help of some practical illustrations, I would like to give deep insight into these concepts. Now, third objective of my research is, 1 minute. Third objective of my research is to motivate the participants to undertake the research. There are young people, young PG students, young teachers who have joined the faculty who want to conduct the research. For them, it is a kind of motivation. Some concepts will be clarified. So that will help them to go ahead with their research. Now, research, meaning of research. Already I have discussed these things with you. Research is a careful, systematic, critical, objective inquiry in some field of knowledge. That field of knowledge may be from natural sciences or from social sciences. So carried by an independent expert. So a person who conducts the research, she should be expert in that area. Any person cannot do the research. To conduct the research, minimum qualification is that in the area in which you want to explore, you should have either too much of experience or too much of knowledge. And you should be independent. That means you should keep away your personal thinking. You should be totally objective. So research is conducted by an independent expert, which aims to discover new facts. So at the end of research, you will be coming out with the new facts. Will come out with the new ideas, new generalization, new principles, and test the old facts. Sometimes some of the findings of the researchers already done in the previous research, you may try to test whether, as on this date, whether the things which they have discovered, they hold good. So sometimes existing facts also you try to, sometimes you may challenge the old research and come out with the new ideas on which no light was thrown by the previous research. So for that purpose, you may test the old facts also. And while doing this, you use scientific methodology, as I told you earlier. Then I told you that research may lead to the development of generalizations, principles, and theories. Generalizations are more general, principles are specific, and theories are more specific. Relations between different variables is numerically established. It is called theories. Resulting, if you come out with the theories, we can predict sometime the future. Now, because of research, we have seen all whatever human progress we have achieved today. It is a result of the research. And the research has gone to such an extent that tomorrow, if the tsunami is coming, earlier we get the signals. What will be the climate next year? So we can sometimes, the research has gone to such a level that even we can predict, our research can help us to predict and sometimes control, minimize the damage occurring because of future events. So research has gone to such a level. How much will be the mass in the, and normally these predictions hold good of the precision in our research. So what is the role of research? It contributes to the general field of knowledge. And secondly, it helps to solve many complex problems faced by business life. This is main arena of research. We try to investigate different problems of the society in the life of a mankind and different problems faced by the organization, institutions. This is mainly done by research in commerce and management. Now, modern rapid technological and economic social development is the effect. Now, today, if we go 200 to 300 years back, the man was in a total barbaric stage. Man was not knowing how to live properly. So the people they didn't have any facilities. But today in the modern world, I'm in my office, I'm establishing contact with so many people who are listening to me from the remote location. So these are all the outcomes, the laptop which I'm using, mouse which I'm using, mobiles which we are, smartphones which are using, vehicles different we are using for transportation. All these are outcomes of researchers. Different people like Thomas Alva Edison, they have spent their entire life for inventing a particular thing like a bulb. Graham Bell, he invented telephone. So all these and number of people, they are working day in and day out. So they are coming out with the different mobiles with different features, different laptops, different types of computers, different modern gadgets. So some people are working hard day and night, and they are constantly conducting research, and they are trying to improve the physical facilities in the life of a mankind. So all the technological advantages we are having, modern sophisticated world in which we are located, and all the facilities we are enjoying, these are the gifts of the research that has been conducted by many people. They have spent their life, they are working focused with the focused attention. Then what is the process of research? Let us have a brief glance at what is the research. At the very outset, first stage, we define, first of all, we have to decide in which area, in my area of specialization, on which topic I am going to conduct the research. I have to finalize the topic. I have to identify the concept or phenomena on which I want to conduct the research. For that, I will have to do the review of the literature, previous literature. Whatever earlier research has been done, I have to go through that. And while reviewing the literature, when I go through in detail done in the particular area in which I want to explore something, then by reviewing the literature, I will understand the research gap. What is the methodology used by old researchers? I will have a clarity about the different concepts that I'm going to use for my research in the problem that I'm going to investigate. So it will bring me a conceptual clarity of framework, then previous research gaps, and that will give me an idea as to where I should move ahead, how I should go with the problem that I'm going to, or the issue or phenomena that I'm going to take up for the research. Then on that, then I'll be able to form the hypothesis when I discuss the people, when I do the review of literature, when I have a discussion with my research guides, different people who have expertise, knowledge and expertise in that particular field, then I will get a clarity. I will get conceptual clarity, and I will come out with some findings, tentative hypothesis. Then on the basis of hypothesis, I'll be able to frame the objectives. By conducting this research, what are the objectives that I want to achieve, or what exactly I want to do, and how my research is going to contribute to the social welfare, to the welfare of mankind. What is the rationale of my research? What is the importance of my research? That I'll be able to highlight. So this is the first stage. Then after all these things are being done, first after finalizing, after delimiting, properly defining my problem of research, identifying the objectives and hypothesis, the next thing is I have to go for prepare the research design, which I'm going to discuss in detail. I have to prepare the research design. I have to prepare the complete blueprint and plan, step-by-step plan for my research, which is called research design. When we construct a building, directly we don't start digging the ground. First of all, we go to the engineer, we prepare the plan, we show him the site, he prepares the plan. Then after preparing the plan, we prepare the budget. Where will be my living room? Where will be my kitchen? All the things will be clear. Then where will be my walls? Then the foundation starts. So in this way, we have to go with the proper planning and strategies and procedures before going for the research. These plans, procedures, strategies together, they are called research design. About the research design, we will have a detailed discussions at a later stage. Then after research design, preparing the research design, next thing we want to find out is we want to collect the data. We have to actual field work will start. Then we'll collect the information. Different methods of data collection are there. We will use different methods of collecting the research data. Primary data, secondary data we will be collecting. Then after collection of the data, we will be doing the processing of the data. We will be editing the data. We will be processing the data. If there are gaps in the data, we'll be filling them on the basis of interpolation, extrapolation. Then after data has been collected, it will be presented in the form of tables, charts, and graphs. That is called data processing, editing of the data, coding of the data, then preparation of tables, charts, diagrams, graphs. This is called data processing. And after the table charts are there, we'll try to analyze the data. For analyzing the data, we'll be making use of different tools of analysis. Statistical tools of analysis are there. Different types of tests of hypothesis like t-test, z-test, chi-square test. Different types of tests are there. We'll be applying those tests on the data. We'll testing the hypothesis. We'll coming out with the different findings, research findings. And then after research findings are there, we'll be preparing the final report that is called total summary of the report. And this, what we have done in the course of research, it will be presented in the form of a report. A detailed report will be preparing. And what we have found out, how we have found out, what we have done, what kind of information we have collected, how we came out with the conclusion on the basis of data, information that we have collected, that we will be presenting to the world, presenting to the experts who want to carry forward the further research in that particular area. Even we'll identify the limitations of our research. Even we'll try to suggest some of the areas for the future research in our research report. So these are the different stages. This is called entirely process, stage by stage activities arranged in the sequence, which may overlap, or sometimes they are followed in a particular logical sequence. They are called research process. This is the process of research, procedure of research. Now, after reviewing the entire process of research, let us try to understand what is the hypothesis, which is one of the important concepts. Now, after doing the review of literature, while I begin the research, first of all, I will try to identify the problem for my research. I have to identify exact issue that I want to diagnose, analyze through my research. So for that purpose, first of all, I have to decide the area in which I want to do whether I want to do the research in psychology, whether I want to conduct the research in physics or chemistry. If I'm an expert from commerce and management, I'll find out some area in the field of marketing, finance, or HR. Suppose if I'm expert in marketing, concept of marketing, I will take up some issue faced by some of the institution or particular industry, market. I will try to analyze that problem. So before starting the analysis, before trying to define the problem, I have to do a lot of work, spade work. I know the area in which I want to investigate. I have a tentative idea about the problem which I want to investigate, depending upon my expertise. Then I have to discuss that problem with my research guide. I have to discuss with the problem with the experts who are working in that area. I have to go through some experts they may suggest. My research guide may suggest some of the earlier research, some of the books, some of the thesis, the earlier research which has been done in that area. I have to go minutely through and do the review of the literature. By doing the review of literature, two types of review. In order to clarify the concepts which I'm going to use, in order to have clarity about the conceptual framework, I have to do the reading, a lot of reading. Then after having conceptual clarity, the concept, suppose I'm doing the research in marketing, I should know what is market segment. I should know what is the market mix. These are basic concepts of marketing. Unless I know these basic concepts of marketing, suddenly I cannot take up any problem for research. So that is conceptual to understand, refine my knowledge about the conceptual framework, different concepts that I'm going to use for my research. I'll be doing a review of literature. Then after that is being done, once my concepts are clear, then I'll be reviewing the literature. Suppose I want to do the research in the market mix, then in a market mix of a particular industry, say a particular chemical industry, I have selected and marketing mix of that particular industry I want to study. Then on market mix, whatever research in different industries that has been done by the different researchers. And while conducting that research, what kind of data they collected, how they analyzed it, and how they reached up to the conclusions and findings. I have to go through minutely. That will give me an idea as to how should I proceed with the problem of my industry. How should I proceed with the market mix of the chemical industry which I have taken for research. So whatever research that has been done about the marketing mix in different areas, different industries, I have to go through that minutely. That will give me an idea as to what are the tools they have been, what kind of data they have used, what kind of tests they have used. And that will give me an idea as to how to analyze the problem of marketing mix of the industry that I have selected. Then by doing all these things, I will have discussions with the expert. I'll be reviewing the literature. I'll have different round of discussions with my research guide, and then I will get totally immersed in the problem. I'll go to the roots of the problem. Then I will get some idea, the clarity about what things I want to find out. What are the basic things that I may discover? And for that, I'll be preparing some statements. Before I begin the research, I'll be making some hypothesis or some assumptions, which may perhaps, which I'm going to test. I'm going to make some assumptions, preliminary assumptions about the area in which I want to do the research. These assumptions, which are tentative, on the basis of previous research that has been conducted, what experts say in the particular field. On the basis of that, I'll be having some assumptions about the thing, about the problem which I'm going to study. And those assumptions, presumptions, tentative solutions to my problem, they are called hypothesis. So I start my study with the hypothesis. Now my hypothesis should identify the variables, the relations between the different variables which I want to study in the course of my research. It will give a tentative, those variables should be reflected, clearly reflected in my hypothesis. So what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is the proposition which can be put to a test. We are going to test this, whatever presumptions that I'm going to make at the beginning of my research. In the course of my research, I'm going to test these presumptions. I'm going to test the different relationships which are shown in my hypothesis to determine its validity, whether these assumptions which I have made, whether the relations which I'm anticipating, whether those relations between the different variables, they hold good. So Good and Hat, which is the authority on the research, they have stated that hypothesis is a proposition which can be put to a test to determine its validity. Second definition given by G.A. Landberg is hypothesis is a tentative. Hypothesis is a tentative generalization, the validity of which remains to be tested. Before we begin a research, we make some generalizations. Okay, so the generalizations which I form at the beginning of the research, which I want to test, and these generalizations, different variables are reflected, different relations between variables are reflected. These generalizations, the validity of which I'm going to test by using different methods, different techniques and tools of research. These tentative generalizations are called hypotheses. In its elementary stage, the hypothesis may be a hunch. Hunch means pure on the basis of my pure thinking, what I think about on the basis of logical analysis of the phenomena, which I've done in the course of my pre-investigation. What are the hypotheses? So what is my hunch? What are my imaginative ideas? What is my guess, which come on the basis of my before starting the research, whatever investigation I made. On the basis of that, I form these hypotheses, tentative generalizations, and the validity of which I'm going to test in the course of my research. Then, a hypothesis is a predictive statement capable of being tested by specific scientific methods. As I told you, these are the predictions which I have made. These are estimations I have made, which I am going to test. These are the assumptions before I begin my research I have made about the phenomena, which are capable of being tested. That assumptions, these assumptions which I make, they should be capable of being tested in the course of my research by making use of scientific methods. So, hypothesis relates the independent variables and dependent variables and relations. So while framing the hypothesis, I should take care that my hypothesis should indicate the variables, the relationship between these variables I am going to study. So all those variables which I want to study, if they are clear in the course of my hypothesis, my research goes very easy. So my hypothesis should not be vague. It should be specific. It should be specific to such a level that they should identify really the sum of the dependent and variables, the relationship between which I am going to test in the course of my research. Then some of the examples. Now, it is said that instead of discussing the things for hours together, if we give some examples, the concept will be more clear. So whatever I told about hypothesis, the things will be more clear, particularly the people who are newcomers, PG students. They will get exactly idea of what is hypothesis. Suppose I am going to conduct a research on impact of ICT. Okay, so ICT we are using nowadays. We are using LCD projectors. We are using different tools, modern tools and techniques for teaching the subjects. Now, the use of ICT has improved the university examination performance of MCOM students in BK College. This is the subject which I may take, or this may be a hypothesis. That is, in BK College, we have been, for MCOM students, we have started using ICT. Earlier, we were using chalk and talk method, but nowadays, modern methods, scientific methods, recent technology we are using. Whether it has improved the performance in the university examinations. So earlier, we were using traditional methods. Now we are using ICT. So from the year we have started using the ICT, whether our results have been improving or they're coming down. So this may be a hypothesis. This I want to test. So what are the variables? Use of ICT is a dependent. It is a university examination results is a dependent variable here. And independent variable is ICT method or old method, traditional methods. They are called independent variables. And they decide the university results. That's why they are called the university examination performance of MCOM students is a, and here I have specified that I am going to focus only on MCOM students of BK College. So I have specifically at BK College only. So I have given the limitations in the course of my hypothesis. I have limited my study. So I am not going to study all the MCOM students of RCU University or Karnataka University or all the universities. I am studying, my study is limited to only BK College PG students, and among the PG students only MCOM. BK College may have MSc also. I'm not bothered. That is out of my purview. So I have pointed out. So I have defined my hypothesis in a proper way. Second hypothesis is private tuitions have improved the performance of MCOM students of BK College in the course of, in the subject of costing during 2019. So here I have limited too much. In the course, I have limited the time also. I have given time limit also. During 2019, only 1 year. Rest of the data is immaterial for me. 2018 data, 2015 data, no use of to. So I have the hypothesis specifically identify the area, they delimit our area. So focused work we can do instead of trying to do the hodgepodge work on trying to play with different variables and reaching nowhere, going in no man's land. Hypothesis will point out where what exactly I want to find out. So private tuition is a, I can say, independent variable, and performance of the students is once again variable, is dependent. Performance of MCOM students of my college is a dependent variable, and private tuitions is an independent variable. So that independent variable, how does it affect? There are a number of variables which influence the performance of students in MCOM. But I'm going to study only one variable, that is private tuitions. What is the impact of private tuition? That is my area. I'm not going to even how there are different extraneous variables, which are dependent variable, independent. I told you some are outside, which I'm going to treat as a constant. Some variables are there in my focus. Some variables are there. They have influence on dependent variables, they're outside my purview. They are called extraneous variables. So extraneous variables, which are beyond my purview, and within my purview, what are the dependent and independent variables? They are identified. They are indicated in the course of through my hypothesis. Then performance of Azra cooperative. Azra is one place, small town. Performance of Azra cooperative sugar factory in respect of sugar recovery and crushing season has improved after it is privatized. See here, what are the things included here? So Azra factory, earlier it was a cooperative sugar factory. It was taken up by Renuka Sugar, which is a private management. Renuka Sugar Works took the Azra sugar factory, which was in total loss, which didn't pay the bills of cane growers for last 5 years. So such a factory which is not doing well, which is on the verge of liquidation, the management of that cooperative factory, they decided, why instead of liquidating this company, let us try to give one more chance. Let us hand over the management to the private management. We have been efficiently managing the sugar industry. So they contacted Renuka Sugar Works people management, and they handed over the factory to them. So after Renuka took over the charge, it was a private management. Earlier, it was a cooperative type of management. So new private management, they took the things to the task, and they brought that sugar factory in total profit. Okay, so this has given an idea to a researcher, one of my students, Dr. U.R. Shinde. He took this research. So after change in the management from cooperative to private, how that factory improved so much. When the Renuka took over, Renuka management, private management took over the management of that factory, they transformed that factory. They not only cleared the arrears of bills of the farmers, but they started giving better rate for the farmers every year. So how the factory which was on the verge of liquidation, how all of a sudden it came into profit. What tricks the new management did. So from the basis of, we analyze the management techniques they used to improve the working of the factory. And from those techniques, whether we can suggest some things to the cooperative authorities on the basis of which they can give some guidelines for the sugar factories in the private sector. What are the tricks which management people are paying? So to interplay. So we have studied the operating performance and technical performance of that sugar factory. And what do you mean by performance? What governs the performance? Performance is governed by number of parameters. Some of the technical parameters are there, some operating parameters, and we have identified those technical and identified. Performance means it is not a single thing. Performance is determined by n number of factors. So performance is a dependent variable. Performance is not a single variable. So in the performance, once again, number of variables are there, which decide the performance of the factory, sugar factory. So out of those performance, there are some financial performance indicators, technical performance indicators, operating performance indicators. So out of those, we have excluded financial performance indicator. We have taken into consideration only technical performance indicators and operating performance indicators. And how these performance indicators are influenced by different techniques that have been used by the management of Azra Sugar Factory, private management. These we have tried to analyze. So these hypothesis, it is pointing towards what things we want to find out. This is the main hypothesis. On the basis of this main hypothesis, n number of hypotheses, we have sub-hypothesis. Number of research questions we have tried to solve through different types of hypotheses, which I'll be once again explaining further. Now let us take one hypothetical exam of what is research. Now, growing absenteeism of undergraduate students in commerce. I am a person from commerce. I have been teaching commerce students for last 37 to 38 years. So I have been observing that PG students, not only PG, all the science commerce students, their absenteeism is increasing year after year. So problem I may take for research is growing absenteeism. Under commerce, undergraduate, I'm not going to study PG. I have excluded. I have delimited my study. What is the title of my research? I am going to study concept of absenteeism. How to calculate the absenteeism. For that, there is absenteeism of students, absenteeism of industries. Different industries might have, different experts might have studied the absenteeism of workers in different industries. To compute the absenteeism, what are the formulas they have used? For that, I have to do what is called research, review of literature. For that review of literature, after review of literature, I finalize. I know how to calculate the absenteeism, how to compute the absenteeism. What are the different formulas that are used to compute the absenteeism? So, growing absenteeism of undergraduate students in commerce faculty, in Belgaum district. So when I say Belgaum district, I have to go through, what is my population? My population will be all the UG students in the commerce faculty in Belgaum district. This is my population. And not only 1 year, but from 2015 to 2000, whatever students in this 5 years, 2016 to 2020, this is my population. I am going to study absenteeism of all these students, UG students in commerce faculty. I have excluded arts faculty students, science faculty. I am focusing only on, even on in the commerce, I have excluded PG students. I have taken only BCom 1, BCom 2, BCom 3 students of Belgaum district. I am not considering other districts. So I have put my limitation. So this is how I have properly defined. If I say I want to study absenteeism of students, this is very vague. Which students? Whether you want to study universal absenteeism of all the students who are taking education in different areas? No. So for that purpose, this is called delimiting the problem. I have to define the problem. I want to study, no doubt, absenteeism, but for that purpose, I have given the time limit. Time limit is 5 years. I have given geographical limit, Belgaum district. I have given faculty limit, only commerce faculty students. And what concept I want to study, that also limited. There are n number of problems of commerce students. I'm not going to deal with all those problems, only on absenteeism. So this is what is identified by my research title. I have properly defined my research. Then what are the hypotheses? In view of this research problem, my hypothesis may be absenteeism of UG students in commerce faculty is higher than UG students in arts and commerce faculty, as of arts and science faculty. Here I have increased my population. Now I have to study, I have to make a comparative absenteeism of UG students in commerce faculty in comparison. Okay, or vis-a-vis it is called, in comparison with absenteeism of UG students in science and arts. So that is why I have specified absenteeism. So what are the variables given here? I have to test this variable. I should have what variables I should have? Dependent variables are absenteeism of UG students is a dependent variables in Belgaum district. All the colleges in Belgaum district I will have to cover. I may not go for all the students. I may select the sample. For that, I will be doing sampling. I may select some sample colleges and some sample students from those colleges. For that sampling, I have to do very properly. How to select the sample, what should be the adequate size of sample, that is given in my research methodology. I have to take care of that. So I have to study absenteeism. Absenteeism is a dependent variable. Okay. Then I am going to study absenteeism of UG students from arts and commerce and science faculty. All these variables should be there with me. Then I say it is growing. So I have to see the trend. I have to do trend or time analysis of time series. That statistical tool I have to use for analyzing the time series. What are the tools I have to use? So those statistical tools I have to use. Then absenteeism of male students is more than female students. For that, I should have a data about male students from science, arts, and commerce students in UG for all these 5 years, and female students. Okay, so absenteeism of male students is more than the female. Nowadays, when I joined, I became a teacher I took my first appointment as a teacher in 1983. So in 1983, when I used to enter the class, there used to be one row where even that row, some girls used to be there. And rest of all the rows or all the columns in my class, they were filled with the boys. Okay, that was the picture. But today when I go to the class, the picture is reversed. Boys are there in some corner. My class is full with the girls. So this is my second absenteeism. That is why this is my source of origin. I have got expert knowledge. I'm in this area. This hypothesis I have derived from my experience. I need not consult the experts. Okay. So absenteeism of male students is more. Boys students, there were some, except few glorious exceptions, some scholar students. The rest of the students, they are here in the canteens, in the campus. Find them in the cities. They're moving here and there. The period is going at the college. So this is my hypothesis. Second hypothesis: absenteeism of male students is more. So I have to compare the absenteeism of male students of all the faculties with female students of all the faculties. I have to compare and whether it is more or less. These are the variables. This is how the variables are identified through hypothesis. Absenteeism of urban students is more than rural students. This is my third absence. In big cities, absenteeism is more because big classes are there. Comparatively, in the rural areas, absenteeism is less. Students are very much sincere. Actually, there also absenteeism is growing, but that problem is not that severe. If you go to big cities, very few students. If you go to the universities, no students you will find, only teachers. So this is how in big cities, this is the problem, sorry to say. This is the state of affairs. We are experienced, all the teachers know this. So on the basis of experts, I have taken the areas because students many of the students are there. So they should have a clear idea of hypothesis. That is why I have taken this specific hypothesis. Okay. That's so we have discussed the hypothesis, the absenteeism. Hypothesis, whatever I told, hypothesis given so far, this is showing dependent variables. Dependent variables is absenteeism of boys, absenteeism of girls, absenteeism of students from science, arts, commerce faculty. These are dependent variables. These are governed by what? The major reasons. These are called now independent variables. They never change. They are there constantly. But absenteeism goes on changing. So this absenteeism is governed by these factors, which I'm going to indicate. They are called independent variables. What are the independent variables? The reasons for absenteeism. They are called independent variables. So major reasons for growing absenteeism are private tuitions in the subjects of commerce. Why science students are sincere? Because science students teaches tuitions are less. There are no tuitions for art students. Only for commerce students tuitions are there. That is why they go for the tuitions early in the morning. They attend the tuition in the afternoon. They what we can say they are not attending the periods. Okay, so private tuitions is one important factor, I feel. Second is inaction of the college authorities. We never take the attendance. If we start taking the attendance, if we don't inform the students, inform their poor parents, and bring the absenteeism to their notices of the students and parents, unless we take some actions, in most of the colleges, action is not being taken. That is why students say, if we don't go, sab chalta hai. Whether we attend or don't attend, nobody cares. So this inaction is another reason. Then some of the colleges where strict action is being taken on attendance, where the students are attending regularly. We can observe that. So second reason, frustration among the students. Earlier, when the students, they used to complete the BCom, before they complete this BCom, they used to get some appointment letters from banks or some companies. So they knew that we should work hard, we should attend the classes. But now that is situation has changed. That is why students are deviated. They think that we can stay at home and get the certificates, get the degree. No need. We can attend some here tuitions and here and there. That's enough. So these are some of the and negligence. This may be the reason. Plus any other reasons in the course of my research survey. If I come across some dominating reasons, I can study. So this is how hypothesis is framed, and different relationship between different hypotheses is established. This is on the basis of main hypothesis. I can come out with different hypotheses. So in research, so once the hypotheses are clear, the variables, somebody comes and says, I have got data of Gulbarga University. Then I will say it is of no use to me. My area is restricted to Belgaum. Somebody says Delhi University data is too much nice, sir. You can use it. No, it's of no use. My focus area, I know. That is pointed out by hypothesis. So what is relevant to me? Data about which variables is relevant to me and which are irrelevant to me. Okay, that will be known to me if I have got clear hypothesis. So unwanted data. Suppose I don't have hypothesis. I want to study the absenteeism. So I'll be collecting a lot of data about absenteeism from different universities because my hypothesis is not there. So for that purpose, hypothesis identify, they delimit, you do the pointed study. So dependent variables I've shown you. I've already discussed absenteeism of students, and independent variables are private tuitions, inaction of college authorities, frustration among the students, negligence of students, and any other reasons. All these independent variables, they decide, they are influencing the absenteeism. Out of this, which are the dominant reasons, I may try to find out in Belgaum district, and which are normal or which are negligible reasons. Okay, so I may come out with some other reason other than the four. In the course of my research, my things may go on changing. Sometimes I may come across some new idea, new variables also from other variables. Then I can try to study between the variables, relations between these dependent variables and independent variables in the course of my study. Okay, so this is called. Now we'll take. I have given you, first of all, I have done the general discussion about what the hypothesis is about. Then I have gone to specific example, and on one hypothesis, how number of hypotheses we can derive, that I have shown. Now we'll go deep into the hypothesis. What is hypothesis? I will take a practical example of hypothesis. Okay. Now here is that practical example. This is in the word file. Now I told you the story of Azra Sugar Factory. I have told you a private management, Renuka Sugar, took over the management, which was Azra Sugar Factory was in total loss. It was unable to pay the cane bills of sugar cane growers, farmers for last 5 years. Company was on the verge of liquidation. They want to close down the factory. But management thought that why not to give it to the another management? Let us see, let us take one trial. So me and my student, research student, together we came out. So first hypothesis we framed is we wanted to study before, we took 5 years period before takeover and 5 years after takeover of Renuka Sugar. After the management was changed from cooperative management to private management. After 4 to 5 years, we started the study. So in the course of 5 years, we saw a lot of progress done by Azra Sugar Factory after change of the management. Then we wanted to identify the strengths of the private management and suggest those strengths to the cooperative. And through this, we wanted to give a new lease of life, whether because many of the sugar factories in the cooperative sector, they are not doing well. So whether authorities which govern the working of sugar factories, we can suggest some ideas to them and ask them to give as a guidelines for. So that was the idea. So through this research, I wanted to improve the performance of sugar factories in cooperative sector on the basis of this case study. So this was the case study which we took. Then operating performance. As I told you, performance of the sugar factory is governed by many reasons. So out of those, there are some factors which call them as operating performance, operating factors, which govern the operating performance. There are some financial factors which govern like liquidity, solvency, profitability, okay, turnover. These are activity. They are called financial indicators. So we wanted to study only operating indicators. What are the operating indicators? Crushing capacity. Okay, crushing. If we do crush more sugar during the season, the performance will increase. Okay, so crushing season. So some companies, some sugar factories, the season is 120 days. Some do the crushing because inadequate sugar cane is there. They do the crushing for say 60 days, 70 days, 80 days, 90 days. So more crushing is done, more season, sugar cane season is there. Operating performance automatically improves. Okay, the company will go beyond break-even level and it will go into the profit. So how they improved the crushing, how they improved the crushing season, and whether this has, so this is big, these things have improved the performance. So what are the indicators? Production of sugar is also once again operating. If the operating, when we say, when the sugarcane production of sugar increases, we say operating performance has increased. When the company gives higher price to the cane growers, we say operating performance has increased. When crushing season is prolonged, more sugar cane is crushed, we say that operating performance is increased. So these are the indicators. So these are called these are indicators. On the basis of main hypothesis, operating, what is the main hypothesis? Operating performance of the factory is far better during the private management. How we say, who said 5? Because we said that they were paying, they cleared the backlog and they started giving better price to the cane growers, to the farmers for their sugar cane. So that was a clear indicators. So how could they do this? So performance definitely has improved, no doubt. Unless the performance has improved, they cannot give higher prices to the sugar cane growers. They cannot clear outdated, backdated bills. So that is why this is the hypothesis. Operating performance of sugar factory, of the factory, that is Azra Sugar Factory, is better in the private management regime as compared to the cooperative management. So for that, we had to collect this data about these 4 performance indicators for 5 years earlier and 5 years after the change in the management. All the data we had to collect and study the relationship. So this is how we framed the hypothesis. Okay. Then when we tested this hypothesis, once we framed the hypothesis, we collected the data, we applied t-test because it was a small samples were there, less than 30. So for small samples, normally to test the hypothesis, t-test is, students t-test is applied. So after applying the test is, see, if we carefully go through this table, this is the finding at the end of my research. Okay, so here you see, sugarcane crushing was how much? It was this. It has increased. So it has increased. So we can say this hypothesis, we said that performance improved. So that hypothesis on the basis that the statistical values of T table. On this basis, we have reached that this hypothesis is been proved. So that means it is hypothesis accepted. Accepted means what? There is a significant increase. Alternative hypothesis is increase. It has been accepted. So there is a significant improvement. See, from 30 to 39. This is a huge increase. It is more than statistical limits. And this is because of private management. Some marginal increase may be there. That may be at random because of some statistical lacunas or some lacunas while doing the. It may be by chance also sometimes the performance may improve. It's not by chance. It is because of the struggle which is done by the private management. That is why this hypothesis is accepted. Because private management, they have improved the crushing season. After earlier, the crushing season was less. The significant increase in the crushing season was observed. And this is statistically significant. Then gross season also has increased. Crushing period has increased. So season has not significantly increased. See, season 127 to 140. If you see the values, it has increased. But statistically, this is not big increase. This may be statistically, it is not significant. Okay. If we see apparently it is a marginal increase, not huge increase. We cannot give the credit to the management, changes of the techniques of the management. It may be by chance also some increase or decrease, it may be here and there. Okay. So this is not for random factors, it is because of efforts done by the management. So these factors is rejected. That means there is not much increase but increase is there, but it is not much increase in the season, gross season. Sugarcane production also increases there. You can see 38 to 37, but it is not statistically significant. It should be more than this. It may be more than 50,000. Then it may go statistically significant. But it is apparent it is increasing. All the things have increased. But our finding says that statistically, sugarcane crushing and price paid, it is significantly increases there. And even other things which are not saying significant, some marginal increases there. So what is our conclusion? We say that, therefore, it can be said that overall operating performance of the factory has increased because two variables, statistically significant increase there. And other variables also, there is no decline. Increase is there. It may not be statistically significant, but increase is there. So that is why we say that performance has increased. So on the basis of this, after testing this hypothesis, we came to the conclusion that therefore it can be said that overall operating performance of the factory has increased in the terms of crushing, in terms of sugar production, in terms of payment of prices. In all these areas, operating performance has increased. So our hypothesis is, some hypotheses statistically they are rejected, but overall we may accept them. And overall from this basis we can come to so in these areas, namely crushing season they have increased. Okay, sugarcane production they have increased. Okay, total crushing capacity they have increased. They have used more use of the capacity. So because of that, the private management could bring the sugarcane from different areas. Additional sugarcane has been crushed, and that is why the optimal utilization of capacity has been done. And that is why. Then second hypothesis, technical. Here we have seen technical factors. There we saw operating factors. Technical performance of the factory is far better in the private management regime. Private management regime is for 4 to 5 years. And earlier to that 4 to 5 years, it is a cooperative management regime. That period is called as, we have defined. Earlier, what is private, these terms which are used, we have defined. Before we conduct the research, first of all, we are in the first chapter, we have to define different terms that we are going to use continuously. And what is this by private management regime refers to? So now, what are the indicators? Technical indicators, recovery, sugar recovery. If we crush 100 kg of sugarcane, how much of sugar is produced? By crushing 100 kg for every 100 kg of sugarcane crushed, if I get 10 kg of sugar, or 100 tons of sugarcane crushed, if I produce 10 ton of sugar, I repeat, for crushing of 100 tons of sugarcane, if we produce 10 tons of sugar, recovery is say 10%. If it is 11 tons sugar, by using 100 tons of sugarcane, we say 11% is the recovery rate. You followed? So recovery is a technical. If your machine is sound, if minimize wastages there, recent technology you are using, so that shows recovery will increase. If you are doing the cutting of sugarcane, when it is green, it is have a lot of juice. proper cutting is done, if you have done the scheduling of how you do the cutting of sugarcane and bring it to the factory in time. So these are some indicators of our management. Management has to schedule all this. So that will improve the performance of the factory. That is how the factory in loss may go into factory in profit. So recovery. Then private management has utilized installed capacity. Every sugarcane capacity, sugar factory has got installed capacity. So whether capacity is used full 100% or 80% capacity is used, 50% capacity is used. So earlier, suppose in cooperative regime, 50% capacity was installed capacity of the factories was used. And later on, after management started using 70%, 80% of its installed capacity, definitely its performance will increase. Definitely its profits will increase. Definitely it will be able to pay higher price to the cane growers. It will be able to clear the old bills of cane growers. Okay. Actual hours, how many hours of crushing has increased? So private management has maintained higher crushing hour rate. So these are different 5 indicators we have tested. And we have, on the basis of these 5 indicator sectors tested, we can see in obviously recovery was 11% in the cooperative regime. In the private regime, when once Rainuka recovery increased by 10 to 12, it is higher recovery. So it is significant increases there, statistically significant. Okay. Then capacity utilization, it was 92%. It was 100%. So more than 100%, how you will call it? Because they have worked even night shifts. Around the shifts they have worked in the crushing season. So more capacity utilization. It has exceeded the 100% capacity utilization. Then accepted. They have done. So this is also significant increase in the capacity utilization. Significant increase in sugar recovery. So these are the hours loss. Some of the now here most of the things are accepted. Only losses in the sugar. Some there also increases there, but it is not statistically. So in all the areas, the private management has increased. So considering all the results, it is proved that private management, in the private management period, regarding key indicators, parameter indicators, that recovery, capacity utilization, crushing hour rate of the factory has performed effectively. So in the private regime, the performance could increase because of so many technical reasons and so many operating reasons. And those we have identified. And to do that, what other things, what techniques, what strategies they have worked out. Even we have gone deep into those strategies and we have revealed those strategies for the private sector, for the cooperative sector. So that cooperative sector can take the lessons from those, from our research, and they can improve in these areas. These are the areas, technical areas and operational areas in which they can improve. They can improve their parameters of performance. So this is how we have tested. So now this hypothesis which we tested, it gave you some idea. This practical reason we have seen, practical illustration we saw. So whatever hypothetical examples which I have taken to illustrate what is hypothesis, and some practical reason also, practical research also, that might have, I think, cleared the idea about what the research hypothesis is all about, I think, by taking this illustration. So first part I have completed. You got, I hope that I have drawn home what exactly is the hypothesis, how the hypothesis should be framed, what is the dependent variables, what is independent variables, what are the extraneous variables which are outside the purview, but which you treat them as a constant. All these things, I think they have been cleared. Now I will go to the next aspect. What is research design? After you have framed the research hypothesis, after you have done the review of literature, I defined the problem in proper words. You have defined your objectives of your research. Then you have framed the hypothesis. You have come up to this stage. Stage number 1 is over. Now you are entering the second stage of research. These 2 stages are very important. Remaining is routine work that can be done by the handed over to the computers. Okay, SSPS is there. That will take care. Once you collect the data, you should frame the research design. Research design is a core or heart of your research. Okay. So research design is a master plan. Research design will indicate about which variables you are going to collect the data. For collecting the data, which methods of data you are going to collect. Whether you are while collecting the data, whether you are going to use the sample. What is the size of sample? What is the method of sampling you are going to use? Okay, whether that sample is adequate. Adequacy test is also there. Adequacy of sample test is there. We have to use this simple. So research design is a master plan specifying the methods, procedures, and procedures of collecting and analyzing. Once you collect this data, what are the tools of analysis you are going to use? What are the tools what are the tests of hypothesis that you are going to use? Whether you are going to use correlation, whether you are going to simple bivariate correlation or multiple correlation you are going to use, whether you are going to use a means of tendency or ratios and proportions or central tendency like mean, median, mode, or whether you are going to study the variation between the data by using the tools of statistical variation, that is coefficient of variation, standard deviation, mean deviation, quartile deviation. So what statistical tools of analysis of the data that you are going to use, you have to identify. So research design is a master plan. All these things are clearly indicated. How much is your financial budget? What's the time frame within which you want to complete the data? In the first stage, in which months you want to collect the data, in which months you will analyze the data, what are the period which you require for preparing the research report. That time frame also you prepare. That is called schedule. Your budget, your schedule, your total plan, internal plan is called research design. Once that plan is ready, just you have to execute the plan. So that plan is called research design. It's a blueprint of the research. It's a strategic plan. So research design is a master plan. What it specifies methods and procedures, statistical methods, which are from the research methodology that you want to use for collecting and analysis of the data. Okay. Then second definition is research design. These are the research definitions given by different experts. So second definition says that research design is a logical and systematic planning. What it is, it's a logically you prepare it. It's a systematical planning and directing the piece of research. It is a planning, strategizing, and it gives a direction, proper direction. So your research will not be going wayward. It will be exactly on the track. So to keep your research on the track and not to move here and there, it will help you. So research design is a systematic planning and directing of a piece of research. Research design results from translating the general and specific models into varied research procedures. So you'll be identifying models, which models you are going to use, which research procedures you are going to use. It gives outline of research structure. It gives the entire framework of your research. Okay, research process, research frame. Without such plan, no research will be possible. This is the definition given by a great authority, Pauline Young from sociology. She's an expert. She has given this definition. At the end of research, somebody asks you, what is research? What is research design? So she gave in brief, in point-to-point manner, she has stated what research design is all about. Okay. Then research design is a master plan specifying the methods, procedures of collecting. This is in simple words. We can say, what is research design? If we analyze the definitions of experts, we can come out with the features of research design. What is research design? Research design is a master plan, we can say, specifying the methods and procedures for collecting, what kind of information you are collecting, what are the methods of collecting you are using, and what are the methods of analyzing the needed information. This is identified in the research. Research function. What is research design? Research design is a function of research. The function of research design is to provide framework. It gives the structure, framework for collection of relevant evidence with a minimal expenditure, efforts, and time. While framing your research design, you have to see that we have to whatever available resources. You should know how much time you have got at your resort. Then how much of money, what is the financial backup that you have? What is the time frame within which you have to complete? And considering all these things, you have to frame the research design. Okay, you have to identify the different methods of collecting the data that you are going to use, different tools that you are going to use. Okay, so all these things. So function, it's a function. The function of research design is to provide. Why you are framing the research design? Because you want to provide framework for collection of data, considering the time, money, and efforts that you can put in. Okay, then there is a difference. Some people, they make a confusion between what is research design and what is research proposal. So research proposal is entire big proposal. Suppose I want to conduct the research for a particular company. For them, I want to give the research proposal. In that, I'll be giving what is the title of research, how that research is going to be important, how that research is going to be ultimately useful for that industry, on behalf of whom I'm going to conduct the research. What will the benefit that industrial unit may derive by getting from mine? So what are the objectives of my research, importance of research? Then what are my hypotheses? Then to test this hypothesis, what methodology I'm going to use? Okay, in which time frame I'm going to use? After the data, see please, some disturbance is there. So research proposal I have to prepare. A researcher has to prepare research proposal to get the sanction from the authorities. I have to I have to conduct the research for my PhD. My student wants to conduct. So for that I have to prepare the research proposal. It's called synopsis also, and present it to the university authorities and take the permission. They will see whether it is done, the research which we want to conduct, it is going to give some ultimate results. It is going to be useful for which segment of the society, and whether it is really useful. So for that, it is for outsiders to get the sanction. And research design is main core of research. It is for researcher himself. It is a plan which will guide the researcher himself to conduct his own research. So research design is a core area of research proposal, which will help the researcher. What are the variables about which he wants to collect the data? Which relations between the variables he wants to study? What are the tools and techniques for studying these variables which he's going to use? What will be the size of sample? All these things will be identified in the research design in detail. So it is an elaborate plan, which is useful for researcher himself. And research proposal is a general plan of research, which is presented for outsiders, for some higher authorities, for getting the sanction of the research. Then functions of research design. According to Black and Champion, the three, this is the old definition. It says the three areas of it. It provides blueprint, already we have discussed. It limits the boundaries. Once you prepare the research design, your geographical area will be clear. Your variables about which you want to collect the data, it will be clear. Your respondents will be clear from whom you want to collect the data. The sources from which you want to extract the data. Which data is relevant, which data is irrelevant. The data within my framework, time frame, outside my framework, everything will be clarified in the research. So time boundaries of research, geographical boundaries, methods we want to use, sample size, everything will be clearly defined. It enables the investigation to anticipate potential problems. So what are the research types of designs? There are 4 types of designs which I want to discuss with you in detail. Okay. So first one is an exploratory design. Second is a descriptive research design. Third is called diagnostic or causal research design. And fourth one is experimental research design. This is the major classification of research design. There are n number of designs given by the experts. But this is the main, these are the 4, all those designs we can categorize into 4 based on the objective with which we are conducting the research. Okay. In taking into consideration the criteria on the basis of criteria of objective, we can classify the research into these 4 categories. Second, descriptive design. Third is a diagnostic. Fourth one is experimental. Choice of design depends on the objective of research and how much is known about the problem and the objectives of my research. Okay. Suppose if I don't have a clarity of the research I'm going to take on a large scale. Okay. So to get an initial idea of what I am going to do, suppose I have got a budget of 10 crores rupees. I have to find out the impact of COVID-19 on the Indian economy. The project has been sanctioned to me by, say, ISSR, okay, UGC, suppose, okay, or Indian Council of Social Science Research, ICSSR. They have given me a sanctioned me a, suppose, 50 lakhs rupees, major research amount I have to conduct. So before going in for directly, it is a very big problem about which nothing is known. COVID-19, it's a new thing, new natural calamity, which has its impact on all over the globe. So it's a big theme. So first of all, I have to limit my study. Whether I want to limit my study only to a specific area, only Indian economy. Entire Indian economy, different states are there. Number of states are there, union territories. So whether I want to study all that, no. I want to conduct. So first of all, I have to, before going in, suppose even if I have conducted, I am going to conduct research throughout India. I got big budget. So before starting with the main research, I'll be doing some miniature of the research I'll be doing. That is called exploratory research. Because if I straight away start with a big research and later stage, if I come out with some difficulties, it will be difficult for me to go back. Suppose I go forward and I find some difficulty in getting the data. I am not getting the data. Unless I get that data, I cannot move ahead. I am stuck up at a particular point. So that situation should not arise. I will be in a no man's land. So not to allow, first of all, instead of taking a big research, first of all, I'll do the research on a small scale in a particular area, a particular district I may select, Belgaum district. And in that only, or Dharwad district I will select, or Kolhapur district, or Mumbai I can say, which is hotspot, or Bangalore, big cities. And see, I will first of all explore. And then that model I can use on a large scale. So exploratory design is a small, it is prepared to conduct a research or pilot study or test study of research. That is called research design. That is exploratory. To conduct test study, okay? Or you are conducting the research in an area in which you don't have any idea. For first time you are conducting. There is no earlier literature or earlier research done by anybody. Or little research is done. Some research is done, but very 2 or 3 people have done the research. You can use that in the course of your review of literature. So I do not begin in the exploratory research with some hypothesis. Come out with some, I don't have any idea at all. So for that purpose, I'm conducting a research, a small piece of research before I go with the bigger research. That is called exploratory research. Or I'm going to research in an area, I'm conducting a research in an area in which nothing is explored so far, or very little is explored so far. So that research is called exploratory research. And the design prepared to cater the needs of such kind of research is called exploratory research design. These are actually 4 types of research based on the objectives of research. And for those 4 types of research, whatever design you prepare, they are called designs of research. Okay. Second type of research which I want to conduct is a descriptive research. Okay. Descriptive research. Third is a diagnostic research. And fourth one is the experimental research. Now, while conducting this, discussing on these different researches, I'll be going in detail in the design. So I'll go to the next slide, exploratory. So I have already discussed all these things. The major objective of exploratory research, exploratory studies is to achieve new insight into phenomena, COVID-19, new insight in a particular phenomena. Or demonetization has been done in India. Not research, much research is done. I may go for that. What are the impact of demonetization on Indian economy? Okay. So new policy government has executed. What is the effect of that policy? Suppose government of Karnataka has come out with a new policy. What is the impact of that policy? Whatever the objectives that were envisaged while framing that policy, whether those objectives have been really achieved, I want to do that. So no, but study has been done so far in that for studying that particular policy or particular scheme which has been launched by state government. So I may do it for the first time. So for that also I can conduct the research, and that research is called exploratory research. So main objective of exploratory research studies is to achieve new insight into the phenomenon. The major emphasis of these studies is to discovery of new insights into and ideas. They are mostly carried out when the researcher has a little or no knowledge or a limited knowledge about the phenomena under study. Examples: impact of COVID on education system in India. I think so far on this date, some people might have started doing the research on this area. Some hodgepodge research might have been done. So if I want to go out with the concrete research, so it is a new area. So that research which I'll be conducting, I may conduct it on large scale directly. It is also exploratory. Or before conducting large scale, I may conduct small scale. That is also called exploratory research, because nothing is explored. It's totally new arena in which I'm entering. Okay. Impact of smartphones on the behavior of youth. So thing is known to us. Now youth, earlier attraction was television. All the people were sitting in front of the stage. Now nobody is looking at the television. Which channels? are used. Everybody is engrossed. See, when television came, there people stopped reading the newspapers because news channels are there. People started going for the movies because all the movies are shown. So all the media, they were governed by, they were taken on a ride by televisions. Then television, after television, new technology came. All the things, even nobody is looking at the television now. Smartphones. When I enter in my college, all the students they are busy with their mobiles. So this thing, all the teachers, they are busy with the mobiles. So for that purpose, smartphones, whether it has affected, so it's a new area. Okay. So these are sometimes some of the areas, effects of digitalization. Okay, on the curbing on the working of a service of the National Bank. So nowadays, digitalization is going on. Whether that digitalization has improved the service of the National Bank and all the banks. Okay, digitalization is used to improve the banking services. How far they have improved. So these are some areas explored in which I can explore. So how I can do when I go for exploratory research? First of all, I have to conduct the survey of literature. I have to whatever existing literature I have to review. How the things are explored in some other researches, what design they have used, I have to go for. That will give me an idea. Then I have to go to the experience survey, the experts who are undergoing that. Suppose if I want to conduct the research on COVID, so I have to consult the doctors, or suppose impact of COVID on education system. I have to consult the teachers. I have to consult the university authorities. I have to consult the UGC authorities, all AICT authorities. And then I will get an idea. It's called experience. Some team of experts I may form and I have a thought-provoking discussion between the people who have got expertise. So brainstorming sessions I can conduct a team of 20 experts online. I can hold the discussions, and at the end of discussion, I may come out with some ideas which I may use as a hypothesis. Okay, some conclusions experts have reached. I have reviewed the literature, existing literature, some focus group discussions. That will give me a hypothesis, and I may test those hypotheses in my course of research. So, essential steps for design is we have to go for this. So, this is that I have given the picture of experts. They are sitting together, and they are coming out with it. Then, second time, descriptive research. What is descriptive research? I think all of you have got an idea about. First type, exploratory research design. The second is descriptive design. What is descriptive design? Descriptive design refers to mainly the surveys. Okay, surveys. It will give you just a superficial idea about the phenomenon. It will not give you a deep idea about the phenomenon. It will give you a superficial idea, overall, general idea about the phenomena. Okay, so any phenomenon. Phenomena means what? It can be anything that I can take for research. Okay, now I want to study the industry, the status of industry in Karnataka state. Okay, so what is the phenomena I want to study? Status of industry in Karnataka state. So what I can do? I can collect the industry information about all the industries in Karnataka state. I may categorize all the industries in a large scale industry, small scale industry, medium scale industries, okay, micro level industries in Karnataka state. This is one classification. Then in each industry, in a large scale, what are the engineering industries? What are software industries? What are textile industries? So industry-wise classification I can do. Okay, first of all. So I am trying to, first of all, I have defined them, then I want to have a information about the different cross sections of the phenomena. Phenomena is industry. What are the sections of the phenomena I have studied? The size-wise I have done the classification. And each size, industry-wise classification, large-scale industries. Now, industries which are doing well and not doing well, I may classify. Industries in the private sector, cooperative sector, government sector, sector-wise classification of the industry, and I can arrange. This is called survey of industries. What phenomena I have said, and whatever data I have collected, I may put it in the form of tables, in the form of report I may publish. That will give an idea to the viewer as to what is the general status of industries in Karnataka as on this date. Okay, so that is called cross-sectional descriptive design. Suppose while conducting this research, I have conducted the data about the industries in Karnataka state For last 5 years, 5 years growth I have shown in all the industries, even large scale industries growth, small scale, medium scale, in a period of 5 years. Okay, some trend I want to study. Which industries are doing well, which are not doing well, I want to identify. Okay, some trend, to do the trend analysis, I have collected the data for 5 years. Then 5 years, size-wise data of the industries, area-wise data, sector-wise, government sector, private sector, how they are doing over all the 5 years. If I do, that is called longitudinal research design. One is cross-sectional design, where time frame is not considered. If I collect the data over a period of time and arrange it and show the trends, it is called descriptive research design only, but it is called longitudinal design. Okay, so what is descriptive design? Now let us go to the definition. Descriptive design enables the researcher to describe the present picture of a phenomena. You can, even RBI is conducting regularly the survey of banking industries in India, all the banking. What is the status of a banking this year? What was the status in last 5 years, 4 to 5 years? It is shown. Okay, how the private banks are doing, how the government banks are doing, nationalized bank. Okay, development from those surveys we can understand what is the development of nationalized banks, what is the development of scheduled banks, cooperative banks, what is the development of foreign banks, private banks in India. Okay, how even the deposits they are growing, how non-performing, what is the status of non-performing assets of. So all multi-dimensional data is collected and it is present in the form of tables and charts. So banking, what is the status of banking industry in India? That will be demonstrated through my study and general study. I don't go into deep into a particular sector of banking. I am giving general review. I am not going into the deep to the roots of particular industry, say software industry in Karnataka state. I am not going deep. I am not answering why it is happening, how it is happening, when it is happening, where it is happening, geographical, district-wise I can show, district-wise, area-wise industries, area-wise bank. So that is called, normally the surveys which are conducted, even election surveys which are conducted, they are called descriptive research studies. Okay, they describe the phenomena. Okay. It tries to understand and determine the characteristics associated with the phenomena or population. Population, when I do industrial survey, all the industries in Karnataka state is my population. If I do the survey of banking in India, all the banks of all varieties, that is my population. About them, I want to conduct the research. That is my population. So in that, if it is a popular people, if I am conducting the census about the people, I want to conduct the information. I can arrange that data. Government of India is also conducting the census after every 10 years, all the state governments and central government. All that data of the population, age-wise, sex-wise, how many are male, how many are female, over the period of 10 years, how much is the growth rate of male population, female population, okay? What is the occupation? How many people are in the service sector? How many are business persons? Education level, how many are graduate, postgraduates? Income level, income-wise, we can do the classification of population. So that is why characteristics population that we have studied through census. Population is a phenomena, and general picture of the phenomenon will be presented. Okay, and it is a longitudinal over a period of 10 years. How much is the growth rate? Also, it is shown in the census. Okay, purpose of descriptive design is to provide accurate and snapshot. Snapshot means as on today. What is the story? Today the review, what we can say, survey report has come out. Survey report of RBI has come out today. So as on this date for the year 2019-20, on the date on which conducted, what is the status? It may change tomorrow. It may change after 5 years. But as on this date, what is the status of banking in India? That will be given by RBI report. Okay. So purpose is to provide accurate snapshot of a phenomena under investigation and describe the state of affairs that exist at present. It also reveals the trends. Descriptive research design provides answers to the questions who, what, where, and when. Okay. But it does not answer only one question, why. If we go deep into the phenomena, answer why is answered. Why it is happening. This answer is not given by descriptive. It gives what is happening, why, where it is happening, when it is happening, during what period, how much is the growth of deposits, in which area, the deposits have grown, which banks, okay? So what is the growing? Deposits are growing, or whether the advances are growing, or whether non-performing assets are growing, how much is the growth, what is growing, what is declining, all this is shown. But it does not, why the non-performing assets are of a bank in a particular area are increasing. For that, if you want to conduct the research, you have to go for other design. You have to go for diagnostic design, next design, or you have to go for experimental design, okay? So descriptive design just gives a view, general view of the phenomenon, okay? It gives detailed picture of a phenomenon, okay? But doesn't answer why it is happening. What is happening? It is shown. When it is happening, it is shown. But what is happening is shown. Where it is happening, when it is happening is shown. But why it is happening is not shown. Okay. Examples: pre-election exit surveys. So whenever elections are there, before the election, some news channels, different agencies, cephalogists they are called, they are conducting the survey. And before the election only they will say, this party will get this much of share. This party will doing well in this particular state on the basis of survey. So that will give a general idea to the listener or viewer as to in which area, which party will do well, in which area, which community will give higher votes to which party. All these ideas, general idea will get through these election surveys. In which states, which party will be dominating, in which state, which male will be supporting, in which state, rural population will be supporting which area, which party. So rural, urban, all the classification they give and give different dimensions of what the voters are thinking about forthcoming elections. Even after the elections are being conducted, immediately after people give the vote, when they come out, the people, they survey their opinions and they collect some from sample survey they conduct, and on the basis of which, so that survey report that is called, so economic survey I have discussed, this is description. Steps in descripting, these are the definition steps. First of all, objectives of the study you have to form, what exactly you want to study, which period you want to cover, what aspects you want to highlight, about which variables you want to demonstrate the data. You have to define the population. Once you fix up the geographical limits or time limits, the population will be clear in which area I have to conduct the information. Okay, population will be clear. Then entire population, which is unmanageable, you can go for sampling, and from that sample data you can collect the information and arrange it in the form of tables, charts, diagrams, and come out with your findings. It's a descriptive. Designing the method of data collection, whether you are going to conduct the interviews or telephonic interviews or face-to-face interviews, whether you are going to issue the questionnaire, all these data, then how you will be analyzing the report. All these things will be ready. In the research design, you will be defining the objectives, what you want to study, how you want to study, when you want to study, for what purpose you are studying. Then you will define the population, methods of sampling you will be finalizing. Then methods of data collection, you will be making a list. These are the methods which we want to use for this data about the variables. These are the tools of analysis we want to study. We have to study the relations. These are we are going to study the correlation, the regression, analysis of time series we want to do. Then a report will be coming out. That will be the final outcome of your research. Okay. Then cross-sectional and longitudinal, I have already said. Cross-sectional gives phenomena. It doesn't consider time. If you consider over a period of time about the phenomena, if you collect the data and put it in the form of tables and charts, it will show trends, increases and decreases in different factors, independent, dependent factors, about which you have collected the data. Okay, cross-sectional and longitudinal designs. Okay. Then next, this is the descriptive design of a practical design. Actually, I have taken from the actual economic survey of Karnataka state, 1920. From this, what is given? It is a longitudinal survey also, because 2 years are compared. Over a period of time, it is shown. It is a different showing different. It's a cross-sectional also, because cereals, how different cereals have grown. Areas also considered. Cereals are considered. So it is a cross-sectional come. It is longitudinal also. Then in this pulses, in the area-wise also shown. Area-wise also we can show in these 2 years, in which districts, how much is the production of these different crops we can show. Another table. They have got number of tables. I picked up one table only. And this table shows growth rate also, because it is time analysis. How much is over a previous year, over 1819, how much is the growth in 1920? Whether compared to previous year, the pulses production has increased, food grains production has increased or decreased. Food grains have, see here, food grain production has decreased from 18 to 17. So this is a decrease. Okay. Even the area of food grain productions or pulses, area of pulses has declined. So once the government gets the idea which food area, in which area the area is declining or production is increasing, government decreasing, government may take the measures to increase the area, those production of those groups or crops. Okay, so this will give an idea to policymakers as to whatever efforts they did in the previous year, whether they reach their targets or what they should do in future. For that, some idea will come to know through this research. If anybody wants to, if there is a decline in particular, continuous decline, and suppose in a area, in a particular area, in the food grains, why it is declining, we can curtail that growth by taking the measures. So for that, we can do further research. So this is how design research. Then diagnostic research. So diagnostic is directed towards, I told you that descriptive research design does not identify why it is happening. So why it is happening? What are the dependent variables and what are the independent variables? Independent variables are the variables which influence, and the result of that influence is on the dependent variable. So we identify dependent variables and independent variables and try to study the relationship between dependent and independent variables. So that is shown in the diagnostic design. If we are conducting diagnostic research, you have to prepare diagnostic research design where you have to identify dependent and independent variables and establish the relationship, which type of relations, to study those relationships, what tools of statistical analysis you are going to use, what data you will be collecting, about which variables you will be collecting, okay, and what within what time frame you are going to conduct collecting the data. All these things will be known. So diagnostic study, for example, may aim at discovering, analyzing the problems of farmers. You want to study the problems of farmers, problems of college teachers, okay, college teachers, problems of working women. So these are some of the areas in which you can try to find out. You have to try to find out, identify the problems. You are answering the problems. What are the problems? First example which I took is the absenteeism is the problem. And why the absenteeism is increasing? I identified some private tuitions, inaction of the management. These are the, so I studied the relationship between. So it was a diagnostic study. Diagnostic was absenteeism of student, growing absenteeism of former student. That was the problem. And why it is happening? What are the factors which are contributing to the increasing absenteeism of students? I wanted to identify those factors. For that, I may conduct diagnostic design. Then I frame the hypothesis, and in the hypothesis, different variables will be detected, and those about the variables have to collect the data. Okay, so these are called diagnostic designs. Then experimental design. Experimental design is it also studies the relationship between dependent and independent variables, but it makes the changes in the independent variables. It makes the changes in some variables, independent variables, and see how much they influence dependent variables. If you make the changes and see the effect on dependent variables, changes in independent variables, then that we want to go deep. We want to, in the diagnostic, what is the cause and what is the effect? Then how much is the effect? If you make some changes in the frame, how the dependent variables they will be influenced. So it is a step ahead of experimental design, is a step ahead of research design, earlier design, that is a diagnostic. A design in which some variables are being studied and manipulated. I said changes are being done. This design seeks to control the conditions. So suppose E is the effect and A, B, C, D are the factors which affect the E. A, B, C, D are independent variables on which E is affected. E is influential, E is influence. Then I make A, B, C, I keep constant, and changes in D only I make, and see how much is the effect on E. Then I make the changes in, I make A, B, and D constant. I make changes only C and see how much is the influence on E. So such experiments are being done. So that is why it is called experimental design. So this is how experimental design works. Okay. For experimental, two groups are required. Okay. One is called control group and second is called experimental. On group which I want to conduct the experiments, I want to make the changes. It is called experimental group. And second group, where I want to study the influence, where the dependent variable is there, it is called, so experimental group. It is called control group. Control group and control group is, so these things will be more clear if I go for example. If I discuss it in detail, you will not get an idea. So it will go, I will go with my example. For experimental study, two groups are required and compared in terms of assured effects of experimental variables. The validity of experimental experiment depends on the equivalence between control group and experimental group, which are chosen. Now, this discussion will be more specific if I go with a practical example. Okay, the two ways of assuring equivalence, they are randomization and matching. We do the matching and we do the randomization. Perfect matching we do, and some random things we do, movements here and there, random changes. Okay, all this randomization, matching, in the course of my example, I will explain how it is done. Now, example is a company has introduced a new fertilizer. This illustration I'll be explaining. Through this illustration, I'll be explaining what is causal research and what is experimental research. Okay. Now, a company has introduced a new fertilizer in a market. I've taken one example to understand what is experimental design. A company has introduced new fertilizer in the market, and it claims that use of this fertilizer subsequently increase the production of all agricultural crops. Company has come out with a new fertilizer, and it says that if we use our fertilizers, the production of all the crops has to increase. Your existing production will definitely increase. We are sure about that. This is their claim. Okay, now they meet a particular researcher, agricultural scientist. He wants to check whether whatever they are saying, whether it is other people may accept, and they will directly pay a higher price and purchase their fertilizer. But scientists will try to test whether there is a validity in their claim. It is a hypothesis. What is the hypothesis? Ready-made hypothesis that company has provided you. What they are saying? Their fertilizer, they say that this is a independent variable and it will influence production of all the crops, agricultural crops. Okay, they are dependent variables. Okay, how will you examine and validate the claim? Now you are a researcher, agriculture researcher. How will you examine and validate the claim of the company about the effectiveness of a new fertilizer on agricultural produce? Agricultural produce means not only one single item, number of agricultural items are produced. On each item, I want to study whether how much this fertilizer influences in increasing the growth. Now, common man will not be able to do. If I'm a research scientist, I know different designs and which design I can use this, I can come to know. So I can conduct an experiment on the small scale and try to test the validity of this claim of this factory. Okay. Now, what I may do is, what are the dependent variables? Now, agricultural production, agricultural produce. So I may first of all do the experiment on I'm an agricultural scientist in a sugar. Okay. So sugar cane is my area of interest. On sugar cane, whether sugar cane growth, sugar cane production will increase by using these fertilizers. I want to check. Now, I'm an agricultural scientist. What are the dependent variables here? Rainfall of sugar will increase, sugar growth will increase. Sugar cane is directly proportionate to rainfall. Higher the rainfall, higher is the growth of sugar cane. Lower the rainfall, lower the rate of sugar cane. Okay. Climatic conditions, they also influence. How is the climate this year? That will also govern. Okay. These are independent variables and they govern, which is dependent variable. Agricultural produce of the sugar cane is my variable. Irrigation facilities in my farm. I got 24 acres of land. Okay. On 24 acres of land, I'm going to conduct this experiment. Okay. Then what are the other factors? Soil of the quality of soil in my area. That also governs the sugar. If quality of soil is, if it is good, then my crop of sugarcane will be good. So these are the governing factors. These are independent variables and this is dependent variable. So what I conducted, this is my control groups. I got 24 acres of land. On 12 acres of land, it is at one place only. So on 12 acres of land, I have not changed the methodology. All the things are constant. Rainfall will be constant this year. climatic conditions will be same. They are in the same climate zone. All the things are constant. Irrigation facilities are same in all 24 acres. Quality of soil on all the 25 acres is the same. Pesticides, same pesticides I'm going to use this season. Only thing I'm going to change is other variables have remained constant. But only thing I'm going to change is on this 12 acres, which is my experimental group, I'll be using new fertilizer. And in the my old fertilizer I'm using, which I was using, old fertilizers. And this new fertilizer I'll be using in this test group or experimental group, okay, this year. And then I will see how much is the increase in the production. I have conducted the experiment. On 12 acres, I have administered the test. What is the test I have administered? New fertilizer I have used. That is the test I have administered for this experimental group. And there is a control group where I have not administered this test. Okay, now I want to compare the production. Now I came out with the conclusion per acre, 70 tons was the production in the control group where I have not used this new fertilizer. And 73 per ton, 73 tons per acre was the sugar production at the end of the season in experimental group. So obviously, the sugarcane production has increased by 3 tons per acre. So whether it is good or no, whether I can accept the claim, sugar production has increased substantially, whether this is substantial, 70 to 73, 3 tons, whether it is substantial, statistically substantial. Sometimes 70, 73, it may change at random also. If I conduct the experiment, sometimes it may average on all 24, it may go 71 also without using this fertilizer. So this, whether this is because of, if it is because of this new fertilizer, then there is statistically substantial increase. Okay, increase. I have to. So whether it is obviously it is increase, but whether it is statistically significant. Increase may be because of some other reasons also, which we have not considered, which is beyond my purview, because of extraneous variables also. Okay, so I have to test this. So for that, I have to conduct the test. Okay, now I will statistically test this test. So population mean, see sample, there are 2 samples. Here sample mean, sample 1 mean is 70 production. Average production in this 12 acres is 70. It is my sample mean. And this is population. So this is my population. Every year I was using, without using this trial, I was some population mean. If I would not have used, normally it would be 70 per acre. Normal, this is every year I get the production, 70 tons per acre. That's my population mean overall. But now this is sample mean. This is sample I am going to test. So for that I have conducted this test. So how is the test? See whether this test, t-test, I would see that 70 and 73 difference is 3. I have divided by standard error. This is standard error. What is 3D? Standard deviation divided by root of n. N means how many? 12 I have taken. Okay, 12 plus 1 minus 1. So this is less than table value. So we can say that this hypothesis. What is the null hypothesis? There is no difference between 2 samples, that is with new fertilizers and without fertilizers. 2 samples means 73 and 70. So this difference is not significant. Null hypothesis says that difference between population mean and sample mean. Population mean is 70, sample mean is 73. This 3 is whether it is significant or not. For that we have to divide it by what is called standard error. This is standard error. So the value we get, it is a lesser than table value. So statistically, this 3, it may be due to random factor also, not because of this new fertilizer. This is what statistical tools say. 3 tons has increased on an average, but it is not significant. It is not much. It may be due to some other reasons also, not because of your trial, not because of new fertilizers. So this is accepted. So what is our conclusion? Null hypothesis is accepted. That is, there is no significant difference between population. This 2 means 70 and 73. So new fertilizers has not significantly increased has not significantly increased agricultural production of sugar. This is our conclusion. This is how I tested the hypothesis. Okay. Now, I can conduct this talk. I can conduct this trial next year on, suppose if I'm agricultural scientist. I have now this I've tested on this hypothesis on the basis of 10 acres or 24 acres. So I can do this experiment on a larger scale. I have got, say, 10 acres of land. 2 acres, I may grow the sugar cane. These 2 acres, tobacco. This is my control group. And this 10 acres is my experimental group. 10 acres is a control group. 10 acres is a experimental group. On this 10 acres, I have used new fertilizers. On this old, where I use my traditional fertilizers, conventional fertilizers. Then this is called, so other things are constant. Other variables are constant, as I told you. Only one variable has been changed. And changes on that variable on different crops. So per acre, in these 5 acres, how much is the sugarcane per ton? In these 5 acres, how much is the per tobacco, per kg increase, or how many kgs increases there per ton? So this is how I can go conduct this test for number of. And then while selecting where should I sow the seed, I may take here sugarcane, and I can take sugarcane here. How I have selected all the crops in this while selecting. I have not said sugarcane, and this is called matching. This is matching. This is called matching model. Sugarcane. Table across matching either. Instead of matching, randomization I can do. Here I can take sugarcane, here I can take sugarcane. Here I can take tobacco, here I can take tobacco. Here I can take, because how I have to sugarcane first, second tobacco. This is the first test. First of all, I opened 5 sheets. First sheet came sugarcane. I have put in the first area, I have put the second. Now, for this test, first sheet has shown that tobacco. So I will take tobacco. Second sheet, which I picked up, is oil seeds. I'll take oil seeds. So then the comparison, this is called randomization. So I have taken care that objective, I should come to the conclusion. So this is called randomization and matching. So this is done. Now, this is called cause and effect. Whether the cause, because of fertilizer, sugarcane, or production of these crops, which production crops substantially increased, which production crops has not substantially increased. At the end of my research, I'll be coming to my conclusion. Okay, I have done the experiment. This is causal design. Then I'll make the changes in next year, or in the next experiment. I may make a changes. Suppose increase. So I may make a changes in the use of fertilizers, new fertilizers, and see how much is the effect. That is called experimental design. Initially, I made use of same quantity specified. Some changes in the quantity prescribed by that company, I may use in the fertilizers, and see how it influences the productivity of different crops. So this is called experimental design. Okay. So summing up, we'll sum up. So we started with research design is a careful. What is research? Research is a careful, systematic, critical, and objective. Objective means while conducting the research, I am not taking into consideration my personal views. What it is I'm trying to observe in the course of my research. My personal feelings I'm keeping at my home while conducting the research. Okay. So it is objective, impartial. You should be impartial. You have to ensure you should not manipulate the data. Some data is inadequate. Don't fill up by thinking logical values. If it is there, eliminate those question acts. If you feel that question data provided by informant is doubtful, eliminate. So you have to be accurate. So you have to do it carefully, systematically, critically. While doing the design, etc., we have to consider all the factors. You have to be very much critical about the factors, identifying the factors, the dependent and independent factors. You should not leave out anything. Critical and objective inquiry in some field of knowledge. Now, I have shown how it is done in the field of education, in the field of agriculture, how we can conduct the research. Okay. Carried on by independent expert. I should be expert in that. I should know research methods. I should have experience of research. I should have done research in different areas. So I should be expert. Then only I'll be able to conduct the research in a proper manner, which aims to discover new facts and test the old facts by use of scientific methodology. Then what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is an assumption. Now, whatever we are making, earlier also I told what is hypothesis. Now, at the end of my lecture, whether these words are giving more meaning to you. If they are giving more meaning to you, then I think that whatever I have told, I have brought home the concepts. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is an assumption about the relationship between the variables. Is it correct? I have shown that absenteeism of students is a dependent variable. An independent variable, private tuitions, okay, negligence of the institutions about the absenteeism, okay, negligence of the students, frustration of the students. These are the areas, okay. So we study the relationship between these variables, dependent and independent. So assumption is stated that it is growing. These are the factors. It is making assumptions, and then we test those assumptions on the basis of data in the course of our research and identify whether really tuition is a dominant factor or negligence of the student is teachers, institutions is a main dominating factor. We'll rank the factors at the end of this and which factors are not influencing, okay, the absenteeism of students or agricultural produce, okay. Hypothesis can be defined as a logically guessed relationship. Logically, we are guessing. This may be the reason. Relationship between two or more variables expressed in the form of testable statements. So we frame the test statements in such a manner that they can be tested statistically. Hypothesis is a tentative. In the beginning, you make that we have taken the hypothesis while conducting the last example that it is not significant. That by making use of a new fertilizer, there is no significant growth. This new fertilizers, it will not increase. We are sure. We have started with this. Statistically, that is not significant. And we ended that, no, it increases. In case of sugarcane, it is less. But in the case of some crops, it may increase beyond particular proportion. Okay. So it is statistically significant or not. So they are tentative. You begin with some assumptions, and at the end of research, you revise those hypotheses on the basis of you validate some of the hypotheses, and some hypotheses you reject. So hypotheses which you have validated at the end of research, they are called your research finding, or they are called your tested hypothesis. Your tested and validated hypotheses are called your research findings. That is the final outcome of research. So they are tentative. At the beginning, they are tentative. At the end, they are validated. So they are tentative. They may hold good. They may be rejected. Okay. Intelligent guesses as to the solution of the problem. Hypothesis delimit the area. They set geographical limit, conceptual limit. Only absenteeism of Belgaum district in this particular period. So I have set the geographical limit, conceptual limit, only absenteeism, and absenteeism only of commerce students. Okay, I have set the limit. So it delimits the area of research, keeps the researcher on a right track. Once the hypothesis is ready, my research will not go straight. It will be properly always on the track. I know what to do. The clarity is there in my mind. How should I progress with my research? So what is wanted for me, what is unwanted for me, I'll immediately come to know if I have got clear hypothesis in one topic before I conduct the research. Research is a hypothesis. Research hypothesis is a predictive statement that relates independent variables and dependent variables. Hypothesis must contain at least one independent and one dependent, minimum. Otherwise, that hypothesis is fake. If it cannot point towards dependent, at least one independent variable. A small paper you can prepare for one independent and one independent. You can conduct the experiment and come up with finding. Okay. So explanatory and extraneous variables, already I have told you. Explanatory variables are dependent and independent variables, which are into your research framework. Extraneous, some other variables also there which may influence the phenomena which you are studying, but they are outside factors, and we consider that they are dependent. They are constant. Null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. What is research design? Research design is now we thought about hypothesis now. Now let us see whether this is meaningful. Research design is a conceptual structure within which research is conducted. Conceptual means ideas. On the basis of ideas, which are the variables, which are the dependent variables, which are independent. How is the relationship? How are you going to test? This is all conceptual things. It's a conceptual structure within which research is conducted. It constitutes blueprint, plan, which shows my plan and strategy. It's called blueprint for collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. Once the research design is there, you will come to know which methods of collecting the data you are going to use, which methods for analysis which you are going to use. Okay, what are the how we are going to prepare, in which time frame you want to conduct the research, what is the budget, how you are going to utilize it. Everything will be clear once you prepare research design. Okay, research design is a framework or blueprint for collecting the information needed for the project in the best possible way. While framing your research design, you have to take into consideration what resources you have got, what is the time frame within which you have to complete. So you have to plan it accordingly. So it provides framework wherein you have to make best use of your resources to come out with best possible research results. Okay. The research design is a master plan specifying the methods, procedures of collecting. It's a repetition. Research function of research design is to provide framework for collection with a minimum expenditure efforts, etc. Thank you very much. So here I end. I call it a day, and you can now. First of all, at the beginning, I thank once again the organizers. I thank the participants who have been connected in their busy schedule. They have taken out the time. They have remained connected till the end. They are listening to me with the total concentration, with the focus. And I think the participants who have totally focused on my lecture, I have at least helped them to some extent with whatever knowledge and expertise I have got. With that, I have tried to clarify the two concepts, namely what is research hypothesis and what is research design. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, organizers. Thank you, listeners. And now the section is open. If you have got any doubts within whatever knowledge I have got, I will try to answer your questions. Okay, some questions I may not answer also. Some people, expert people, they are connected. They are there in the audience. They may help me out also. I am modest, down to earth man. I don't consider myself as a research scholar. Okay, I am a good administrator, but in the research, I have conducted some research. But I have prepared one book also, research methodology and project work. I'm an author of one book also on research methodology. My research book is widely used in the area of Shivaji University. So with whatever knowledge I have got, I have tried to be as simple as possible. I've given a number of illustrations and try to bring home the main theme of the webinar. Thank you very much. I carry it to the anchor, control to the anchor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have selected few questions from chat box, sir.
Yes.
How to select sample size for convenience sampling, sir? First question is.
Convenience sample is a non-probability sample. You are using convenient sample for your convenience you speak up, which are nearer to you, which are accessible to you. Such items from the population you select and try to conduct the study. So normally all the statistical method, testing of hypothesis, okay, standard error, etc., they are designed for a probability sampling. Probability sampling is the sampling where you are giving for each an item in the population to get selected in the sample. You can calculate the probability of each item in the sample of getting selected. That means you have given equal opportunity for all the items in the population of getting selected in the sample. Then such sample is called. So if I have to I have to study the problem of teachers in Chikodi Taluka, primary teachers. And suppose in Chikodi Taluka, 10,000 primary teachers are there. I cannot contact all of them and collect. So suppose some teachers from my vicinity have collected. I have not given those samples. That may not be a correct sample. They may be all the teachers are from city area, from Chikodi only. I have not taken into consideration teachers from rural area. Their problems may be different. So I have not done the justice. So I have to give you equal opportunity. So for that, I have to prepare the list of all the 10,000 teachers. I have to prepare the chits. By lottery method, I can select 100 teachers out of those 10,000. That method, so while picking up the sample of 100, I have given every teacher's name was there out of 10,000. So I have given equal opportunity. So that is called randomization. So I have given equal chance for every item in the population. All the 10,000 teachers, my study is about the teachers' problems in Chikodi Taluka. So 10,000 teachers in Chikodi, primary teachers say that's my population. Okay. So for random, if you don't do the random sampling, then the problems will be there. So you have to do the randomization. Convenience sample may not come out with the proper results. If you do the random, if you are using convenient sample, you can minimize the statistical error by increasing the size of sample. That is one way. Okay.
Okay, sir. So next question is, how many objectives should a research article basically contain?
Normally, it's a rule of thumb that
audible,
yes, audible. You're audible, quite audible. There is no rule of thumb, but normally, on an average, research objective should be 4 to 5. 3, 4, 5, not more than that. You cannot have 25 research objectives, and you cannot have one objective also. So reasonable is between 2 to 5. Okay. Suppose if I want to conduct the research of a primary teachers, okay, my hypothesis may be, or my objectives may be, I want to review the problems of primary teachers in Chikodi Taluka. Okay, I have to review.
And
that
the
is,
next question is, how many
Yes. 4 to 5 objectives for anything, for any small research or big research. Yes, about the hypothesis, some research question was there. I can answer that. Yes, you can read that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No, third question. You told.
The next question is, how many hypotheses will be best for thesis?
It depends. It depends. What phenomena you have taken for research, how much deep you want to go, how many factors you want to evaluate, dependent and independent variables you want to evaluate. Depending on that. Now I illustrated one case wherein we restricted only to the operating factors and technical factors. So there were 4 operating parameters and 6 technical parameters, 10. So 10 hypotheses were there. And main hypothesis was, in cooperative, after taking up by the private management, the performance of that sugar factory has increased. That was the main hypothesis. And because there were 9 parameters, 9 hypotheses were there. All parameters, every influence of every parameter. Suppose if I would have taken financial performance also, then another 5 to 10, 15 hypotheses. It depends upon how much deep study you want to make or superficial study you want to make. On that basis, you have to. So there is no standard answer for that. Depending upon the areas you want to investigate, number of variables, dependent and independent variables, you can decide the number of hypotheses. Okay, the aspects which you want to study, and for each aspect there may be some parameters. And depending on the number of parameters, number of aspects you want to study, the number of hypotheses will be determined.
So last question.
Yes.
What are the differences between old methodology research and modern methodology research?
Yes, old methodology of the research and modern, very good question. As I told you, in olden days, Mahavir, okay, Bhagavan Mahavir, Bhagavan Gautam Buddha, Vyasa Muni, or Aristotle, they were using the conventional research. The tools were not sophisticated. As I told you, they observed. Now Gautam Buddha, he came out of his kingdom. He saw the people in the sorrow. He did the observation. Man is dying. Man is begging. Old man is full of diseases. Man dying, and his, what we can say, death process is going on. Then he went and he talked with so many people, had an interaction with different scholars. He met so many people, collected. So on the basis of observation of the data, the research was being done. They used to observe, they used to interact with their scholars. Lot of, now it is a webinar, so different people have gathered. They are coming with the new ideas. So earlier, different scholars, they used to, even wise kings, they used to invite different scholars and hold the discussions. So a lot of, because if you do discussions on different knowledgeable ideas, it gives immense pleasure and it refines your knowledge. So that was the old methodology. But later on, some of the statistical methods came out. Statistics, science of statistics came out. It came out with how to collect the data. So statistical tools. When I completed my PhD, the statistical tools were not refined. Okay, so we used to conduct the research only simple averages, ratios, proportions. We used to calculate about the different variables and compare the variables. Even statistical tests we were not applying. Okay, so we used to agriculture production in this year it has increased by so much, so it is increasing, it is decreasing. So general analysis we used to make. Nowadays, the statistical tools have been refined, different tests have been designed, intricate tests have been designed. How much should be the size of the sample? For that also, standard measures are there. Whether my sample size is adequate. Earlier it was not there. So nowadays, data is very much easily available. If you go to Google Uncle or Encyclopedia Auntie, you can get lot of data. So collection earlier in our days, data was we had to travel a lot and collect lot of data. So entire energy of a researcher was wasted in we had to go to different places and read many books and collect the information, read many journals. Now everything is available at home, at the click of computer. Everything is available at a click of mouse. So now the information is available. So earlier the more emphasis was on collection of the data. Analysis was very difficult. But now analysis also is very easy. Collection of data is very easy. But you have to use modern tools. Modern research judges, which they call them, or experts, they expect that data is very much available to you. Tools of analysis, statistical software is there, SPSS is there. By using that, you can make a lot of different types of calculations you can use. But for that purpose, they expect very high level. You have to use recent methodology, they expect. So refined techniques, they are refining over a period of time. So in modern days, if you conduct the research, the researchers, the experts, they expect you to use latest tools and techniques for research because data is readily available. Okay. And tools of analysis are also available. So they expect you to ensure that your research is randomization is done properly, sampling is done properly, method of sampling is proper, techniques of sampling are properly used, proper tests are used, sample is adequate. Okay, for particular phenomena, these are the specific tests suggested. For the finance, these are the tests. For the marketing, these are the tests. They have got standard tests. We have to use them. So methodology has, in modern days, the research has become more precise and more objective. So you cannot use old techniques for new research. Okay, you have to have a knowledge of all these latest tools and techniques of research. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for this informative session, sir. Now I request our HOD, sir, Lakshmikant Naik TO, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all present over here. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver vote of thanks to all dignitaries joined here. It's my privilege to thank our today's resource person, Dr. P.M. Hirekar sir, Principal, Devachand College, Maharashtra, for making excellent presentation on research design and hypothesis. Sir has provided a lot of information relating to research design and hypothesis. On behalf of our department and college, we are thankful to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I might mention deep sense of gratitude to Professor U.R. Rajput sir, principal of our college, for his support and encourage to conduct webinar. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank all participants joined here. And then I must mention deep sense of gratitude our staff members, Professor S.M. Boski, Professor N.B. Patil, Miss P.M. Kulkarni, Miss S.M. Mirje, Miss S.C. Itni, and other staff members for giving supportive hands to conduct this kind of activities. And I would like to thank Sri Shantinath Latte and Sunil Kotabagi sir for his technical assistance. Finally, I would like to thank our staff members of BK College who supports directly and indirectly to make webinar grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.